African nations are some of the richest on earth, if you measure wealth by the resilience of people, communities, resources and skills. But this richness is often in stark contrast to most African nations' material wealth. An estimated 50% of the world's poor live in Africa, a figure that's expected to rise. In Australia, Caritas began with a growing awareness of global poverty after the 1960 UN Freedom from Hunger campaign. Hunger and poverty are often related, and in some African nations food and water can be in short supply, but they enable people to live in dignity and in good health. As we've journeyed over the last 50 years, Caritas has walked alongside communities and partners across Africa, before, during and after the headlines.
Over the last 50 years, there was scores of emergencies that Caritas Australia was engaged in.
Caritas supporters rallied in the 1980s as countries like Ethiopia, Somalia and Zimbabwe were gripped by prolonged famine. 20 years ago, as Africa was in the grip of genocide, Caritas Australia was also there.
So we were involved in reconstruction, health, and we were providing microfinance. It was huge, and I remember that the first time I was in Rwanda, when I started in Caritas, it was so sad. Never seen a population like that. People were deformed, people were losing limbs, and that's so many disability, and this was man-made.
In 2011, a severe drought gripped communities and partners across the Horn of Africa. Caritas, with the support of the Australian community and Australian government, raised almost $8 million to assist more than 1 million people with emergency food supplies, clean drinking water and livelihood opportunities.
The East Africa food crisis affected over 13 million people who didn't have proper agriculture crops because of the lack of rains. We had a tremendous response from the Australian public, particularly our network.
Caritas Australia's development programs have evolved over time. From an initial focus on the Freedom from Hunger campaign, food aid remained a priority for our work and our supporters right through the 80s. These days, Caritas Australia's partners in Africa focus on longer-term development programs in agriculture, water security and sustainable livelihoods. Today, our Africa team is supporting 30 local partners across 31 community development programs in 10 countries, from Mozambique, South Sudan, Uganda, Zambia and Kenya to the Democratic Republic of Congo, Malawi, Tanzania and Zimbabwe.
We're trying to look at a more holistic approach, that you're not just supporting the financial side of things, but the social, the emotional, the psychological. You know, we talk about Caritas being, you know, the meaning of love and compassion. They really believe that, and they're not dependent, you know, like they're not waiting for a handout. They're doing it themselves.
The Democratic Republic of Congo has endured one of the deadliest conflicts since World War II. Their sexual violence has been widely used as a weapon of war. Caritas programs have assisted hundreds of women and girls who've been affected.
We provide medical support, counselling for these women because they undergo a lot of abuse, torture, humiliation, and sometimes they will be stigmatized by the whole family and communities. On top of that, we need to empower these women.
Harnessing the strengths within local communities themselves is making an enormous difference. In Malawi and Tanzania, two of the world's poorest countries, Caritas-supported programs are building better access to food, water and livelihoods.
People's lives have been changed, rather dramatically and fairly quickly through the success of a lot of our development programs, whether it be in water supply or whether it be in agriculture.
What we are doing is to move together with them so that they are moving towards realizing their dreams. So in working with them, they are leading the way. We are just trying to facilitate, to say, okay, here you can go this way, here you can go this way. But the idea is they have to reach where they would like to be. So they are the drivers of their own change.
But basically, I mean, the strengths-based approach, well, it fits in very well with the principles of Catholic social teaching. It really helps people recognise their own worth as households or as individuals or as communities. So it's a very positive experience, and it does enhance the dignity of community.